First of all, I want to thank the organizers of this event for holding such a critically important event in Azerbaijan. It's incredibly foresightful to do this with Azerbaijan, and it's an honor and a very humbling pleasure to be here among my many esteemed colleagues. So thank you, Chosohol, for that. I will try very hard to be as quick as possible. Please feel free to remind me if I'm running a little bit long. I will be speaking today about transboundary cooperation in the Kura River Basin through shared water management based on the experience of the UNDP Jeff Kura Eris project that ran from 2011 to 2014. And we'll talk about what we plan to be doing in the next phase of the project. We're currently right between phases, which will run hopefully 2015 to 2019. Let's see. Okay. Very quickly, I'll be talking about the high level of need for cooperation and collaboration between countries sharing the Kura Basin, the importance of intersectoral cooperation at the national and the transboundary level, and really looking at how do we do that, and what's the very special role for Azerbaijan, because Azerbaijan is emerging as a very key and critical player in this region. The need for cooperation. Priority transboundary issues have been identified by the Kura Basin countries. In the previous phase of the project, we had Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia participating, and there were 4 priority transboundary issues that emerged. Hydrological flow management, issues of water quality, environmental protection, and flooding and climate change. These are issues that are both national level importance, but also very important in the transboundary context. Historically, under the Soviet era, the management was much more centralized, and as the countries have entered the transition phase, the development of the institutions have really created some very challenging transboundary management issues. I would like to say formally that Azerbaijan has now become a key leader in dealing with the transboundary issues, in part due to conferences like this. The cooperation and the national transboundary level is critical for Azerbaijan, and there are a number of reasons for Azerbaijan in particular. One is there's an increased awareness of the water management challenges. Azerbaijan is the only country in the South Caucasus that has a growing population. In Azerbaijan, the population is increasing. In Armenia and Georgia, the population is minimally increasing or even dropping in some cases. Azerbaijan, as you all know, is experiencing significant economic diversification, and as a result is becoming a very important driver in the basin. And honestly, as the most downstream country, it's impacted by the upstream uses. My colleague, Mr. Ahmed Abou Saoud, mentioned this issue with regards to Egypt and a number of the very important issues that have been present in Egypt we're now seeing emerging in Azerbaijan. Now, fortunately, Azerbaijan, I'm very pleased to say, is taking a very aggressive role with this in a very positive sense. The presidential decree prioritizing water management in January 2013 set the stage and changed things drastically. I've been working in water management in the Caucasus since 2000. I've been studying the Caucasus since 1992. This singular event has very drastically changed how water management can be done in the Kura Basin in a very positive way. There's very, very strong political will here now, and there's the ability to start addressing this together. One thing we've seen in our experience is that Azerbaijan has very strong intersectoral management coordination between the different ministries and authorities, and that's very promising. As I've said, Azerbaijan is now a leader for transboundary IWRM in the Kura Basin, partially because you're downstream, Azerbaijan is a downstream country, but also, again, the realization that this is a critical issue for development, for economic development, for social development, and for the future well-being of the country. Right now, Azerbaijan has the potential to become a global model in water resources management. And I don't say that lightly. I spend a lot of time at international conferences where we discuss which country's doing what and how they're doing it. And when I explain the situation in Azerbaijan, my colleagues are often awed by the progress and the political will that we have here. It's very exciting to be working with this. In the last phase of our project, 2011 to 2014, we developed an IWRM plan for Azerbaijan with a number of my esteemed colleagues here with us today. And we had a very strong intersectoral integrated group working together on this. It was, to be quite honest, an amazing experience to have such support and wisdom from so many of my colleagues. One of the most exciting things was that many of the people we were working with Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resource Protection, but also Ministry of Emergency Situations, Ministry of Healthcare, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, ASERSU, Amelioration, Parliament, the universities, NGOs, and civil society all coming together. And because Azerbaijan is not a huge country, everybody already knew each other often. And so working together in a very positive force was amazingly cooperative and amazingly supportive. And honestly, quite exciting to develop this. Now, one of the reasons we did this is we developed a strategic action plan to deal with the transboundary issues in the Kura River Basin. How are we going to address those 4 priority issues: the hydrology, water quality, ecosystems, and flooding and climate change? And so we developed plans for Georgia and for Azerbaijan. Armenia opted not to do that. That's a different issue. And you can see from the far right categories that even though they're not exactly the same, for example, in Georgia they wanted to focus more on institutional support, more in line with the EU Water Framework Directive, whereas Azerbaijan is focusing more on infrastructure for rational use. But really, the categories are very, very similar between the two countries. Together with national experts from Azerbaijan and Georgia, as well as some inputs from Armenia, we took these plans together and we looked at where there were commonalities, where there were common priorities, and what could actually be done. And through those, we developed the Kura River SAP, based on common national priorities. I'm very happy to say that we have ministerial level endorsement of both of this strategic action plan, and we're now getting ready to move forward for the implementation. The SAP itself has strong support from the governments of both Azerbaijan and from Georgia. It's linked to the pending bilateral agreement with UNECE on the cooperation in the field of protection and sustainable use of water resources in the Kura River Basin that is linked to the Helsinki Convention. As some of our colleagues have mentioned earlier, Azerbaijan is the only country to have currently signed that. Georgia is interested in doing that, the Helsinki Convention, but also is moving ahead with a water code right now, and it's being discussed in the Georgian parliament and throughout the Georgian cabinet. So hopefully that will happen, inshallah, soon. But the next phase of the UNDP GEF project will actually be helping the countries meet the commitments that are coming as a result of that, as well as to meet the commitments within the Strategic Environment Plan. We have just recently gotten approval of a $6 million grant from the Global Environment Facility for 2 countries, Azerbaijan and Georgia, for 4 years. It will be run through the UNDP Regional Center in Istanbul, although the main offices will be here. And the additional coordination with other donors and other sectors will be paramount to the work we're doing. Now, because this is a conference on cooperation and security, the question of where does security fit in here? One of the key things our project will be doing is implementing the water nexus. We've got some presentations coming shortly that will focus more on this, but essentially the water nexus. Every major donor right now is talking about the water nexus, and the water nexus is about security. It's about food security, having enough water for agriculture, water security, enough water for municipal use and drinking water, environmental security, enough to take care of the environment and keep the environment sustaining the water that we rely on, and energy security so that we can expand our use of hydropower when and where appropriate, but it's also, the nexus is also about managing the trade-offs between those. The next phase of the project is one of the first applied transboundary uses of the water nexus, and so while it is new, it also gives us a very exciting opportunity to build some important new bridges and test some theoretical constructs that can lead to the future. How are we going to do this? And I'm trying to be quick here. So essentially, we have to accept that the nexus is a new idea. It's not fully developed as an applied mechanism yet. It's still fairly young. And doing it in a transboundary context is very challenging. The next phase of our project will focus on 5 things that we will need everyone in this room's help with, which is strengthening institutions, laws, and policies for water management, strengthening the capacities of water managers in all sectors and across all sectors, demonstrating actual results that reduce stress on water resources, including rational water use and improving water quality. We'll focus on stakeholder education and involvement. It's not just the elites that have to deal with water issues, it's also the people who are working in the fields, the women washing the family laundry. It's everyone together, and we need to focus on conservation issues and education for them. And very critically is making all of the science that's being done, all of this wonderful scientific research, useful for decision makers, because often we have a lot of scientific information, but the decision makers don't understand how to use that to apply to making sound and lasting decisions. And because I'm American, and every commercial we ever have, our nash reklam says, but wait, there's more. Let me do this quickly. Azerbaijan has 3 major pillars in terms of setting the example. As I've said, the GEF has funded this project. It is the first project within the GEF portfolio that will be testing the water nexus and was given priority by this large organization because of the potential we have here, and honestly, this potential is very much driven by the situation in Azerbaijan. There's a long-term vision, which we have, including a national commitment and a financial commitment. We can write laws until we're blue in the face, but honestly, unless we have the money to actually implement what we want to do, it's very difficult, and Azerbaijan has prioritized that. Also, we must build the capacity, as my colleague from Serbia said, you have to have the education so that it's not just current generations of water managers we're training, but future generations. We've done some work with that in the previous phase and hope to do much more. There's a lot more that can be said about that, but I'll wait. The transboundary cooperation aspect is absolutely key, and this doesn't just mean cooperating, it's how we cooperate. It means actually sharing the information. Even if we don't have perfect information, sharing the information that we do have. A very, very important aspect for Azerbaijan is sharing the experience and the expertise. Right now, Azerbaijan is developing in the water sector at such an amazing rate that the experiences and expertise learned here could be very, very useful for water development in Western Georgia. The Georgians are very interested in learning from these experiences, and we're hoping to help facilitate that relationship. And increased regionalization. Water is only one part of the interdependence, and with interdependence comes cooperation. Realizing there's a vulnerability is important in security as the regionalization increases. The European coal and steel community was developed to increase the coordination between Germany and France to keep them from going to war with each other. In the future, we are hoping that shared cooperation on water resources can also serve a very similar role for this region as a model for many other regions. This means building interdependences. Azerbaijan and Georgia have very, very strong regional coordination and also very, very strong interdependences now. Georgia's largest taxpayer is actually SOCAR, and there's an awareness in Georgia, I can tell you with confidence, that there's an importance of having strong and positive relationships with Azerbaijan. And I would like to congratulate Azerbaijan and Georgia for being the model for water management, for building security in the new generations, and really taking this on aggressively and with great promise and foresight. And just almost on time, I hope. Thank you very much.